Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. The 6% Club will change your life. Dr. Michelle Rozen will tell us how. Dr. Rozen, thanks for being with us today.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I love your book. It's entitled The 6% Club. Our audience obviously should know that. First of all, I want to start off by asking you how you got a nickname, The Change Doctor.
So I've been working with Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, organizations, big corporations for a long time, helping them navigate through change. And I'm very big on making it more than the organization, expanding it to a process of becoming. I always tell them leadership is a process of becoming. You become the kind of person who is not intimidated by change, but knows how to navigate it and initiate it. And so at one event that I was speaking in, they just came up with the Change Doctor and they introduced me as the Change Doctor. And I said, you know what, this is really cool. And then it kept on going and going. And, it came from the audience.
That first of all, I think it's great branding, and I could see that as being the title of an article or your next book, because it just brings us into what you do and tells us what you're going to do for us today. Now, you mentioned that when we don't make changes, we kind of get stagnant and discouraged. Can you talk about that and why that happens?
I think the ability to grow as a person is something that has tremendous impact on any aspect of your life. And it has tremendous impact on you as a professional. It has tremendous impact on your relationships, on the way you handle money, on the way you handle your health. And so the ability to change what doesn't work is something that changes businesses and changes lives. And so what happens was that the reason why this is called the 6% Club is that I decided to conduct a research on it and figure out, so many people get excited about changes they're going to make and they say, oh, I'm definitely going to do this thing. And I wanted to figure out how many of them actually follow through.
And where does the 6% come in there now? Do you tell us?
So what happened in the research is that I surveyed 1,000 people at the beginning of January 2023, and all those people had business and personal goals that they thought they're going to crush in 2023. And what I found out literally made my jaw drop, because what I found out was that 94% of the people who set goals on January dropped them by February.
Wait, 94? I'm just going to repeat that for our audience.
Yeah.
90. That's 19 out of 20 if my math is good, right?
94% out of the 1,000 people that were surveyed. Right. So then we're left with 6%. And it really made me stop in my track and say, I really need to sit down and write this book. People need to know how to do this. There's no reason for 94% of people to get excited about doing things in their lives and then drop them so quickly. And you know what? When you look at the amount of pain and frustration in the world right now with people that want to better their lives in one way or another, don't feel that they can, or try and give up on themselves, or, it's not necessary. It's actually not complicated. It's a very simple process if you know how to do it.
And I think that's the key, those last few words that you said, if you know how to do it. Yep. And I know from reading your book, and you turn the lights on for me, no one really teaches us this. Am I correct?
I'll tell you something. I, in the course of writing this book and right after the research, I actually turned to my daughter's school. I have a daughter in high school. And I said to the administration, I said, let me come in and talk to the kids. I want to teach them how to set goals. I mean, it's my daughter's school. So I was, let me volunteer and come in. And they said, oh, that's okay. The kids already set up their goals for the year. We're all set. And I said, oh. And then I looked at my daughter's, she did what everybody else said. And it's almost a recipe for dropping the whole thing.
Isn't that sad? Because we've been on 36 years now. We've had tons of people tell us set goals. Until we really got into a book like yours, I think if anybody, the number is very few that really got into the goal-setting process. And, of course, that's what you do in your book, and that's what will help us, hopefully, by the end of today, so we won't be part of that 94% that aren't achieving their goals. When you're trying to change this for people, are you finding a lot of resistance, or do you, for me, I was very excited. I told you before the show how going through your book today and preparing for the show, I was all revved up, and anything I did, I kept thinking, what would Dr. Rozen say if she saw me doing this? Am I getting away from my goal, or am I going toward my goal? Do you get people who are supportive, or do they resist, or what happens?
I mean, you're always going to get change resistance. And the reason for change resistance is that people tried to change things for the longest time and it didn't work and they failed. So why would they not resist it? It's not work. They tried, it didn't work. If I tried something over and over again, it didn't work, I'd resist it too. The message of the 6% club is very different. The 6% club says, hey, you were doing it wrong all along. Let me show you how to do it. It's so simple. Anybody can do it. You can do it too. And the more you do it, the more confident you're going to be. The more you're going to say to yourself, hey, I'm so cool. I'm doing this. This is actually working. And then your goals grow over time. You become more ambitious. And like I said, it's a process of becoming. You become the kind of person who says, I got this. So maybe I started really small from saying I'm going to drink more water, or go to the gym, one more time a week, or go to the gym at all, or save this much money every month, whatever it is. I started there. And maybe over time, there's number one, the accumulating effect of habits, behaviors that you're creating that work for you, build you, and you become more ambitious. You're like, hey, if I could do this, how about I try to do that? And if you follow the methodology, it works. And so you become confident, not just because you're listening to mantras or you're telling yourself to be confident. Confidence breeds success. Success breeds confidence. And so because the system generates success, so you start small, you become bigger with your goal, more ambitious. You believe in yourself for a reason because you're generating success.
And something about confidence, I was trying to think of a word that would describe it, but I'm going to use the word sticky. I want to be around confident people. I want to get attached to them in a way that they either say, I'm their friend, or let's invite Bill to dinner, or the party, or the golf outing, or whatever. And I think we all do. It's a lot more fun to be around the confident people where they feel we're going to get that parking space. We're going to make that sale. We'll get tickets to the concert or the game or whatever we're trying for. Oh, we will? Okay, if you say so, you're pretty accurate. I'm going to be on your team and I want to. Or they're just going to win the game because a lot of it is the confidence to feel they can do it and not give up and play the full 9 innings or 60 minutes or whatever. Do you find who's most receptive to this? Is this a group of, let's say, single entrepreneurs, the town doctor, attorney, dentist, insurance person, or is this a big business that brings you in to get people to set their goals?
You're going to be surprised. So what you're thinking of, the 6%ers, are not necessarily who you would think. You would think that, maybe it's the more educated group, the more, the happier group. 6%ers can be anyone. A 6%er is someone who sets a goal and actually follows through. I had someone tell me that they work 2 jobs, I believe as a doorman. I mean, I'm not really sure. 2 jobs, 100 hours a week to save money to build a hotel in the Philippines, and that they're almost down to the last penny saving the money that they need in order to build this hotel. Now, you look at this person, you wouldn't think this is a 6%er, but the 6%er can be someone that went to the doctor and the doctor said, your blood sugar's way up. And they go home and they put a plan and they're like, I don't care. I'm going to take control over this. I'm taking control over my health. Here are the things that I'm doing. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. People that went to college from, first generation in the family, did something different. It's the most unpredictable people, and they do something different.
And let's hope some of us are some of those unpredictable people, because we want to learn the techniques from you. But before we go any further, I'd like to let our audience know that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Our guest today is Dr. Michelle Rozen, R-O-Z-E-N. Her book is The 6% Club. And Dr. Rozen, would you tell us the website where we can learn more?
Of course. You can find all the information on Dr. Michelle Rozen, DrMichellERozen.com.
We'll give you that information again before the end of the show. And I'm just going to tell our audience, if you were looking for that perfect book to change your life, and I was kidding with Dr. Rozen before the show, this is definitely that book that you want to get hold of, read, and make a part of your life. You'll see various reasons. You'll see some cute branding throughout the book and just a few expressions that's going to help you remember, put those goals first, achieve those goals, and really make a change in your life and stop saying, I'm going to do it next year or next month, etc. One of the things I copied down, because, again, we all like that word secret. It's in our title, The Secrets of Success. But you say we have a secret power. And
Yeah.
I love that expression because it's a secret. I got to know the secret. What's the secret? So what is that secret power? Tell us about that.
The secret power that you hold is to get yourself in life where you decide to go. A lot of people live life in a very reactive way. They're so burned out. Life is hard. They just try to get through the day. The ability to pause, and I talk about the power of the pause in the book, to pause, think, and identify the things that you are looking to change. And it may start from something very small. It doesn't matter. You don't owe anyone an explanation why you want to change what you want to change. It's nobody's business. But the ability to take control over your future and destiny is your secret power. And no matter what circumstances you're in, you can be reactive or you can be proactive. You can take control or not take control. You can't control, the things that happen in life. Some of them, a lot of them, we can't control. But you can definitely navigate in that ocean. And that is an incredible amount of power. And I've met people that were post-trauma, some of it severe trauma, people that went through all kinds of things in the course of their lives. And still you see the people that take charge, and not everyone does. And that is your secret power.
Michelle, while you're talking, I was just thinking of a new reality show, and of course I'm just making it up on the fly. But if there were two groups, reactive and proactive,
Yep.
I think, of course, everybody was, I want to be in the proactive group. And I'm
Yep.
thinking to myself, yeah, definitely now that I've listened to you and read your book, I want to be in the proactive group.
Yeah.
Well, we have the power, just as you said, to do that. That's our secret power. We can put ourselves in the proactive group anytime we want. We can choose what we want for breakfast. We can choose the route we take to work or the means. Do we take the train, the bus? Do we catch a ride with someone else or walk to work maybe? All of the things that happen during the day, the job we have, if we're not doing well or we're not happy at it, why do it for another 20 years to get a pension when we could be happy every day doing whatever we're doing if we switch to sales or accounting or marketing or whatever? So
Yep.
I love the points you bring out. And leading up to that is a story that you have in your book. And tell us, because nobody ever told us a story about elevator buttons. And you have that in your book. I think that's the most unique, and it's so simple.
It is very simple, but it's really something to think about. So for the longest time, I travel all the time. I speak at different parts of the world and different conference centers, so different hotels. So wherever I stand, I see people standing in the lobby. They hit the elevator button. The elevator's not coming. And no matter what culture I'm in, whatever part of the world I'm in, I see people hitting the button over and over and over again. So then I started thinking to myself, what is up with that? Why do people do that? Because everybody knows that once it's enough. It's not going to bring it any faster. It has no effect. Why do we do things that don't make any sense and then repeat them over and over again just to get the same result? And what was eye-opening for me is that when I started noticing, because I like to look at human behavior, it's a big it's fun for me. It's interesting for me to observe human behavior. So when I started noticing it, I started taking it back to my life because I'm on that journey just like everyone else. I want to make my life better too. So then I started by checking in with myself and asking myself, where in my life am I standing there by the elevator button? Whatever aspect of my life it is, repeating the same choices over and over again just to get the same result and get really frustrated. And the answer was in every possible way, in every possible aspect of my life. So the beginning of the 6% journey started with the realization of, wait a minute, in leadership, in business, in life, in health, in relationships, we have a human tendency to repeat the same actions or similar actions over and over and over again without even noticing, just to get the same result and then get super frustrated. How do we not do that?
I'm thinking of that, and it might get you punched in the nose, but I'm thinking of going up to people who are doing that and saying, I noticed you're pressing the elevator button. Did you ever do it before? Yeah. Did it ever work? And just see, I mean, it almost seems like one of those things they would do on one of the comedy type reality shows where we all do something really stupid, try to park in a space we can't get into, or keep pressing the elevator button, knowing it has never worked. It's not going to go any faster. And just as you say, it's not going to change unless we do something to accelerate it. Now, I read something, though, in your book that you say a lot of people honestly can't articulate what it is they really want. That's kind of a new premise. I've never heard that before. I thought maybe we didn't go in the right direction or we got started on the wrong road and we continued. But can you speak to that a little bit? Does that mean we really don't know what we want? We're kind of going through life, but we're not sure if we want to marry Joe or Mo or Flo?
When you run a company, right, you're going to have team meetings. And at the team meetings, what the team does is they pause, they think, they strategize, they check what works, what doesn't work, and they, divide the tasks, decide how to move forward for the upcoming week or month or quarter, whatever it is. A person never has a meeting with themselves, never checks in with themselves. People don't know how to do it. Now, some people pray, some people meditate. We pause sometimes in different ways. But the most important thing to ask yourself when you pause is, what do I really want? What is the most important thing for me right now? Oh, I'm not feeling very well. I'm not eating very healthy. Can I do better? Oh, my relationship with this kid of mine is very strained. What's going on? I really need to focus on that. I'm not really happy. Why am I not happy? What can I do in my life right now that will make me happier? Those are seemingly simple questions, but most people don't stop to ask themselves, what is the most important thing for me right now? What do I need to focus on going forward?
That's why I love your book so much, because you don't look to us to do it. You've done it for us. And you tell us, and that, in fact, in some places you actually put it in lists, so you couldn't make it any easier that we don't have to go to that trouble. I guess in keeping with that same premise, you have something called Clarity of Destination. I told you I was impressed with that. I think that's a great title, and it just makes me feel smart, so I'm going to throw it into my conversations whenever I can, and I'll give you credit for it. But what is Clarity of Destination, and how can we use it to help us achieve goals?
So, in a lot of cases, people start life. So think of it as a ship going in the ocean, right? And so you're the ship, the ocean is life. And the ship is going and they start life. If you don't navigate the ship, and we just talked a few minutes ago about taking charge, if you don't navigate, if you don't decide what the destination is, the ship is still going. I mean, you're going to end up somewhere, living somehow, doing something, life is going. But isn't it amazing when you decide on the destination, when you say, I'm going to do this. I know everybody thinks I'm crazy and it's such an ambitious goal, but I'm going for it and I don't care. And so when you navigate the ship towards a destination, what happens to you is you become very strong mentally, because when you don't have a destination, any obstacle is going to seem huge. Somebody got on your nerves, your boss is annoying, you don't like your coworkers, your spouse is annoying you, the weather's too hot, the taxes are too high. It's all annoying. But when you know where you're going, these things are much smaller. You're like, okay, this and this and this and that, but I know where I'm going and I'm excited about that. So I'm going there. The ability to put a destination in front of you and say, this is where I'm going. I really want this. How do I make this happen? Is incredible, because it's so good for mental health. It makes you more resilient. It takes your life to amazing places, and it gives you purpose.
And, I was thinking, and I'm ashamed to say this, but probably the only time I do that is when I go on vacation. I have a target that I'm going either to the beach or
Yeah.
to a golf course or to Disney World or to some park in the country. And of course, then I'm directed to it. I'm going to get there by taking the roads, the train, the bus, the plane, whatever it is. But do I do it on all the other things? And if I put as much time into big life decisions as I do into vacation, I think I would be achieving a lot more. Again,
it doesn't have to be big. I mean, you don't owe, like I said, you don't owe anybody an explanation why you have a certain goal, and some people may never understand why a certain goal is your goal. You owe an explanation to no one but yourself. It can be very small, it can be huge. Don't feel obligated to make it big and impressive and sound really, it can be super simple, but you've got to know where you're going.
Otherwise, how are you going to get there?
Otherwise, you're going to end up somewhere, but it's not going to be where you decided to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dr. Rozen, once again, I want to let our audience know, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan. Our guest today is Dr. Michelle Rozen, spelled Rozen. Her book is The 6% Club. And Dr. Rozen, again, we're going to ask you for the website that we can find out more.
Of course, it's www.drmichelle, Michelle, Rozen with a Z, ROZEN.com.
And to our audience, again, if you missed any part of the show, you can always go back to nccradio.org to listen to a podcast of the show. Just look for Secrets of Success when you go to the podcast station, and look for the 6% Club with our guest, Dr. Michelle Rozen. In going through your book, I found that something like 80% of the people are ready for a career change, or if they're not changing, they're not changing because they feel they're stuck, which is kind of a terrible thing. Did I get that number correct?
Yes, 80%, but there's also a high percentage of people who are not happy with their relationships, not happy with their health, not happy with their finances. Life is, we have different aspects of our being where the ability to change what you don't like gives you an incredible sense of control.
And I think that's what we all want. The more I was going through your book, I'm saying the more things, even if they're small things on a day-to-day basis, getting a parking space or whatever, the more things where I feel I'm succeeding or doing what I've intended to do, I do feel I have more control. I feel I have more power. And, of course, that then comes out in confidence, because I'm going to walk with a more solid step. I'm going to address issues with more power because I feel I have that power.
Absolutely.
I found something in the book that surprised me. You said that fear of success is more debilitating than people who are afraid to change their life. I can understand if someone says, well, I don't want to change jobs. I've been here 6 years or 10 years or whatever. Or I don't know if I want to leave my husband or my wife, et cetera, even if I'm not happy. But is it really the fear of success that debilitates us more? And can you talk to that issue?
I'll make it even more extreme. Fear of success is far more debilitating than fear of failure. And the reason is, and this is the harsh truth, that if you're used to failing, that's your comfort zone. And what the 6% Club methodology does is it teaches you how to do this, how to be successful. If you don't know what it feels like to succeed, you've never been there, it's an unknown territory. You'd rather go back, just like the elevator button. You'd rather go back, repeat the same actions, find yourself in the same place. I say getting yourself out of there is not complicated. It's simple. I explain the methodology in the book. It's very unintimidating. And I made sure in the book to take the most complicated concepts and make them super easy to apply and to remember. It's not a complicated system. So if you're imagining yourself sitting there with lists of goals, and no, it's a simple methodology. It's super unintimidating. If your comfort zone is trying and then giving up on yourself and trying and giving up on yourself, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You were just never taught how to do this so that you can become successful. And you know what, Bill, it doesn't have to be 6%. I want to see more. I want to see that club grows. I want to see more people having the ability to take control over their lives. The amount of anxiety, depression, mental health, mental wellness challenges that people are facing these days is incredible. The ability to set goals, follow through, and succeed gives you confidence, makes you happier. There's no other way around it. And so this is very, very important, and it has ramifications on every single area of your life.
Are we too ready today to look for an excuse? We see athletes, if they don't perform well, it's the referee's fault, it's the crowd. They have something else to blame. Of course, in every school, it's the teacher's fault, it's the principal, the umpire at the Little League game, etc. Is there too much of a buyout compared to maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago when your mom or your dad said, if the teacher said this, or if this is the rule, do it and don't come to me and complain?
I think you're right, Bill. I think we're becoming less accountable as a society. I think social media has a lot to do with it. One of the perfect examples that I have for this, and I've been observing this for a while, is the whole toxic people trend. Because if you're in a relationship and the relationship's not working out, all you need to do is go online, label the other person as toxic, and you've got all your friends there and all of your online, followers saying, oh, he or she are toxic. The reality is it's usually a 50. I'm not saying there are no toxic relationships, by all means. I'm not saying that those relationships you should not get out of, but to say that someone is, it's not like there's a department at the hospital, Bill, and, the nurses look at each other and say, look at all these toxic babies that were just born. It's not a unique group of people that are toxic. The relationship is toxic. Over that, you have control. You can get up and leave. You can change the way you behave. You can change the way you react. You can set different boundaries. It's on you. You have control. But yes, the social tendency these days to create some kind of label to the other person and excuse yourself from accountability is concerning, and it's not good for you. You have more control than you realize.
You probably saw me writing it down. I love that expression also, the toxic people trend. You've given me so many good expressions to throw into conversations, and I think we could extend this show for another hour or so. But
let's go.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time for this half hour, so I have to tell our audience that at this point, today we've been speaking to Dr. Michelle Rozen, Rozen. Her book is The 6% Club. It has a nice bright color with big red writing. And tell us the website one more time.
It's Dr. Michelle Rozen, DrMichelle.Rozen.com. And the 6% Club, you can find it literally anywhere. It's in airport stores right now. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble, Target. Look around and you'll find it. Get in the 6% Club.
You're going to love it. It's going to change your life. And that's what Dr. Rozen about. She's the change doctor. Dr. Michelle Rozen, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I'd like our audience to know that you've been listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, asking you to please join us again next week at the same time when we will continue our journey to success.